All right, folks. Well, thank you for coming here. For all my North American friends, thanks for being here after a long weekend. In Canada, we had Thanksgiving, so we've got a lot of people very stuffed and full with turkey. And I know that my friends in the United States have probably had a busy, long weekend as well. So thank you for being here for this edition of Build Mode. For today's topic, we are going to spend some time talking about knowledge base optimization. And if this is your first build mode is where we talk about AI and operations really quickly to give an understanding of how these things work and to give you a little bit of knowledge so that you can go out and optimize your AI and operations for this. A lot of people are watching this live, but we also have a recording that will be available on our YouTube a little bit later on as well too. So on today's agenda, we're dividing today's session into two parts. First, we're going to take some time to understand exactly what a knowledge base is when we're talking about knowledge bases in AI. And we're going to talk about how they work with AI employees in Vendasta. We're also going to talk about the differences between knowledge, capabilities, and tools in the AI employee ecosystem. And that's going to give us the technical foundation to understand how to optimize and understand how the AI is working with a knowledge base. We're also going to take some time to build out a knowledge base and see how easy it is to add different types of knowledge. And we'll also then take some time to see how we can understand where AI is getting its information from and whether the knowledge it's using is what we want or not. So as we're going through this, please feel free to chat in there. I'll be trying to check in every now and then, but if you have questions, you can also use the Q&A tab on the side, where we'll be sure to review some of those questions at the end of the session. But without further ado, I think we will get started with a little bit of a demo. Now, this is probably not my most exciting demo, but when we come back and look at it later, you'll get an idea of how cool this is and the outcomes that we get from it as a result. So I'm going to start sharing a tab, and I will make sure that you can see that web chat there. This is just a example web chat that I have for a fake handyman business called Mr. Handy Helper. And I'm going to reach out to Mr. Handy Helper. It's getting kind of into winter time, and I want to make sure that my foundation is sealed. So I'm going to ask Mr. Handy Helper a question. And my AI receptionist here is going to look up some information and let me know whether they would do that kind of work. Hey, we offer a variety of handyman services, including caulking and crack sealing for driveways, garages, and similar surfaces. Lots of detail here about how they handle it, the specialized solutions. Can you tell me about the issue that you're dealing with? I want to make sure there's no water between my foundation and my concrete patio. How much would that cost? Now, from that first response, you can see that we got a lot of detailed information and some really information beyond the surface level, which is awesome. We want to have that grounded information that really is based on what Mr. Handy Helper, this business, thinks about doing this work. So we got a new message. Hey, thanks for providing more details. It's a common way to prevent water intrusion. Costs can vary. For reference, our caulking services start at $90 for bath or kitchen area and $120 for a window. So the price is going to vary depending on the size and complexity of your job. So we got a very specific pricing based on, relatively close jobs, but says that, hey, for your job, it's going to change a little bit. And then the AI receptionist is asking for more details so that it can provide a more accurate estimate. And all of this reference information about common ways to do some of the sealing, the costs for these services for Mr. Handy Helper, and some general sort of thoughts around the handyman services that they provide. Those were all shared with us through a knowledge base. So let's go back in and understand a little bit about how this knowledge base information was used to get those kind of responses. So first off, like, what is a knowledge base in Vendasta? And the long and the short of it is it's really a way of storing a whole bunch of data so that AI can find and use that information really efficiently. The information that you add to a knowledge base is converted into vector embeddings. And these are basically a really detailed mathematical way of representing language. Chunks of those vectors that have semantic similarity end up having similar vectors. So when I say semantic similarity, what I mean is this chunk of information means basically the same thing as this chunk of information. To give you a visual example of this, here's like a really simplified example of how this works. So you can see here you cannot see here. Let me let you see a little bit easier. So you can see here that the word car has this vector, and it's pretty dang close to this vector for automobile, right? They're both in the 20s, the 80s. In comparison, the vector for the word apple has got negative 1.3 going, 0.45. That's not so close to car and automobile because an apple is a pretty different concept compared to a car and automobile. See, vehicle is close to those two, apple is close to banana. So this is really just a way of saying that the information that we give to a knowledge base is abstracted and is kind of placed together so that AI can find something easily. And this is a really simplified example. These kind of databases will have a lot of dimensions and be harder to see visually. So that's why we let AI do it. And those mathematical representations make it really easy for the AI to search for related ideas instead of having to find things that match exactly. It's like when you control F to find and you spell the word slightly wrong and then you can't find it. Well, this is helping you find it contextually useful information in a knowledge base. So, how do AI employees use these? Well, every AI employee is assigned specific knowledge sources in its configuration, and we'll take a look at that later. So this could be websites you've retrieved information from, PDFs you've uploaded, or custom text you've entered, or your business profile information. And it's worth noting that the business profile, if that is assigned to an AI employee, it's always going to be included in every single prompt. That's because it's full of all of this rich structured information that most conversations need. And it's just important to have that filled out in general for SEO and discoverability and all of these other things. So make sure that business profile is filled out. Now, for all of the other sorts of knowledge, we generate a search term based on the latest user message in a chat or an input and an output. And then we distill it down to the most likely term to match the intent of the question. So if someone asks, hey, what time do you close on weekends? The system is going to distill that down to hours and weekend for a search. We then do a really fancy vector search across all of those embedding snippets we've generated from the content. We find the 10 most similar or relevant results, and then we add it to the AI employee's prompt. So the key thing here to understand is that when we have a conversation back and forth with an AI employee, we have a really, really broad search across all of the assigned knowledge sources, and we try to find the most relevant information. TLDR, lots of matching relevant information from a knowledge base is added to your prompt every time. Now, there is a slight difference here with voice, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But generally, all of this relevant information is added to your AI employee's prompt. So, what kind of information can you add to those knowledge bases? Well, we try to make it easy for you to be able to add the helpful information types based on where accurate information is usually found for different kinds of businesses. So, firstly, you can write or copy text right into plain text, and this is great when you've got to pull things from a whole bunch of different sources. It's just shorts, little bits of information. Plain text works just fine. Something that's really popular is retrieving what content from a website, and we try to do this automatically from the business profile. If you have a website put in, we will automatically retrieve the homepage and some information there, because that's usually a really good source of consistent, quality, accurate information. Just a note on website content here is that it does have to be publicly accessible. It can't be behind a login screen, for example. And if there is HTML that's kind of like hidden on the page, we actually retrieve that too. So maybe somewhere deep in the HTML, you say a price is $9, but on the displayed website, it says $12 or something, right? You might end up with mismatches there. So just to note that website content includes some of that hidden HTML. And finally, we also let you upload a bunch of different common file types. And these are so great because these are probably things that people are using every day in their work already. And they can be used to reference for knowledge. So we're talking about image files, PDFs, PowerPoints, text files like docs files or text or markdown files. You can have structured data files like CSVs or Excel files, which are really great because they have that column structure with the different rows of information. Those work really well. And as well, we have code files like HTML or JSONs that you can upload. And that's a great way of having structured data added to your knowledge base as well, too. So you can add all of this knowledge. And with how great the knowledge base is at finding relevant information, you might think that you should just put everything in the knowledge base for your AI employee to quickly search up. There are some key reasons why you shouldn't do that, though. And understanding how knowledge is different from capabilities and tools will help make that a bit clearer. So, knowledge is information that is given to your AI employee to inform their response. So, by default, AI employees, they know a whole bunch of general information because they've been trained on a whole bunch of wide variety of sources, but they're going to try and reference specific information from your knowledge base in their response. For example, my handyman example was working in Saskatoon, and the way that you handle concrete, sealing and repair in Saskatoon, where it gets cold and thaws and freezes, is going to be way different than how you might handle that in a place like Florida. So the knowledge base is a way of getting your AI to pull up a specific piece of information and reference it, as opposed to kind of taking a guess of which piece of information it should reference. Now, I'm saying reference and inform its response a lot here because, in comparison, capabilities are instructions for your AI employee on how to act and when they should act in certain ways. If you saw my last build mode video, you'll saw that we talked about capabilities a little bit, and you can review that in more detail in YouTube as well to understand that. But the basic idea, you're telling how to act and when to act based on certain scenarios. And finally, there are tools. And these are the actions that your AI employee can take in other systems using APIs. And that might be looking up live information in another system. It might be creating a booking in a outside calendar. Or it could be doing something like creating a conversation record with another system. So to help you really sort of understand what you might use these three things for in different scenarios, let's look at how you might support booking appointments on an external calendar using all of these different ideas, knowledge, capabilities, and tools. So in your knowledge base, you might have the link to book appointments listed as a URL. Maybe this came from when we retrieved it from your website. Maybe it came from plain text. But either way, the information is available for your AI to reference when it responds to questions. So someone asks a related question like, hey, how do I book a meeting? Or can I make a booking? And AI does a search through the knowledge base for things related to book meeting or make a booking. And it says, hey, here's the booking link that you can use. That's in response to a related question or input from someone. Now, in comparison, your capabilities for booking appointments, it could be your instruction to your AI employee for when and how they should be booking appointments. So you'd be asking your AI employee, like maybe, hey, whenever someone asks a question, ask if they'd like to book an appointment. And this way, you get your AI employee to react consistently in certain situations and follow processes like a human would, right? If you just give a human, hey, here's the booking link. Okay, cool. But I'm only going to use it when someone asks for the booking link. In comparison, this is like saying to your human employee, hey, I want to make sure that whenever someone asks a question, you're going to book an appointment. All right. And that really changes the behavior. It gets the AI employee to be more consistent and more proactive in this case. Finally, there are tools for booking appointments. And if you're working with an outside system, that would be making some API setup to let the API, or excuse me, let the AI employee take an action in another system, as opposed to just leaving that link in chat, for example. So this looks a little scary here, and it's a lot to dive into. So we're going to save looking at tools for another edition of build mode. But this would be how you get the AI to actually do the thing in some cases, Vendasta or in an outside system. So knowledge, capabilities, and tools, all really useful things, but they have different purposes when you're working with your AI employees. Knowledge is the information the AI employee uses to inform its response, but not necessarily tell it how it should respond. Capabilities are the instructions for how and when an AI employee should respond in conversations or in back and forth inputs. And tools are the actions that an AI employee takes in other systems. So let's go and have a quick look at how we might build a knowledge base for an AI employee. Let me get set back up. And that should be good enough for us to see as I scroll on down to the knowledge base or knowledge sources, I suppose, actually, in fact, for my Mr. Handy Helper. So here you can see that I've added in the business profile, a services CSV, a PDF, and a website. If we look at the business profile, we can see in great detail the information that's shared. Business name, address, service categories, short description, long description, URLs, all really great stuff. And you can make sure that's all filled in by managing the business profile in Business App. You should be doing this stuff for listings anyways, or reputation management. So this is a great way to make sure that we have rich information, not only for the AI, but in a whole bunch of other places there too. Uh, I see here that I don't have, the short and long description filled out for uh, Mr. Handy Helper. So we'll get those suggested by AI really quick, and that's going to help uh, Mr. Handy Helper's AI to respond better. Okay, cool. Now, there is a little bit of training that's happening right now because we made that change, and we'll see that go away when training is complete. We also have our website here, which we used to retrieve some knowledge. And there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can gather that information. If you know that information is specifically available on one page, then you can just put in the URL and choose a single page. Great stuff. But if you do want to um, gather more information, you can do that too by getting the AI to just kind of roll through a whole bunch of pages using this follow links, where it's going to try and follow as many links on this domain from here. And if you are working with people who have sites set up correctly for technical SEO, you can also use a sitemap to find up to 100 pages. This is all really great to make sure that you get all of the different pages that might be available. And I won't save any changes here as we look at all of the different pages that I found. So let's add in a new website knowledge source, which is pretty cool. Is you can add in, as many different website sources as you want. We automatically try to include your business website for the business by default, but you can add in whatever you like as well too. So I'm going to, as an example of that, I'm going to um, use this handyman connection website because they've got a really deep and detailed website that I can gather some information from. However, I will say when I go to their articles page, they have a bunch of articles, like 18 pages worth. And while this is really, really good for appearing in organic search, there might be some information in here that is not super, super relevant to how we want our conversations to roll out. 5 signs it is time to repair your stairs. Cool. Noisy steps, outdated design. We could have all of this specific information if that's super, super important. But a lot of this is pretty general, and the AI might know it as well too. So what I'm going to do, I will come back to our knowledge base. I'm going to add some new knowledge here. I'm going to retrieve content from a website, and we'll call it Handyman Connection. And we'll get it to follow as many links as it can on Handyman Connection. But we're going to get it to exclude a path. We're going to get our AI to not get trained on any of the website pages that contain /Saskatoon/Sask article, or excuse me, articles. Because I think that's going to be unhelpful information in this case. And this might be something you want to consider as well too if you are building out a lot of content for organic discovery. Last thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to enable automatic refresh. And what this does is it's going to make sure that we go out and retrieve content from these pages on a monthly cadence to make sure that if there are any changes, they're automatically caught here. So I'll let it start finding those pages. I'll close and we'll come back to that in a moment. And one last thing that I'll highlight is what it looks like to upload a other piece of information. We've got some CSVs for prices, a PDF I have about a product that we would use at Mr. Handy Helper. But I'm going to add one more piece of knowledge. I'm going to upload a product data sheet. I will find that for us. You will probably see this on screen. Gets uploaded nice and quick, automatically named as best as we can. And I will save that. And this information from that PDF will get added to our knowledge base. And we can see this training is in progress here. I'll make sure to hit save. And some of this information is going to start appearing on Mr. Handy Helper. Let's see how well he's doing at finding pages. Might take a couple minutes, so we'll have to review that in a little bit. Coming back to our example chat here, I'm going to ask, what products do you use for sealing? Is it okay if we put it off to November? Which, by the way, if you didn't know, is a very cold time in Saskatoon. And what Mr. Handy Helper is going to do here is going to reference information from our knowledge base to help accurately say whether it's a good idea to put off doing the sealing till November in Saskatoon. Hey, for sealing joints, we typically use high quality products like Sikaflex. It's durable, it's great, but it's important to note that many sealants, including Sikaflex, have recommended application temperature ranges between 4 degrees Celsius and 38 Celsius. So November is probably not a good idea. That's awesome. It didn't need any capability prompting to say, hey, when people ask about winter, make sure that you say it's between 4 degrees and this time and that. And there would be too much information to prompt in there for this sort of knowledge lookup. But because it's this sort of static information that it's okay for the AI receptionist to respond to, the knowledge base does a really, really good job of providing the right contextual answer. We are like right up against time, but I do want to take 1 minute to show one thing I promised, and we'll stay a little bit afterwards if you're available as well. My apologies if you asked a question and you wanted to respond or have to leave right away, I should say. The last thing I want to show off, if I go to our conversations and this conversation that I've been having, as the business owner or as an agency working with them, for each response, I can go and I can look at an explanation of the response that Mr. Handy Helper gave. And I asked, hey, do you do foundation sealing? And it took a look using our knowledge base and said, hey, what services do I have a pricing for? We have these services. It's probably going to work out. And then I say, hey, here's specifically what it is. How much would that cost? And we can look and see, yes, in fact, the service is related to this service. I'll use this information to give a general quote, and then I'll try to get a more precise quote. And then one more time, hey, what products do you use? Can we wait until November? It used the PDF that I uploaded about this product to tell us what the safe application times are, and then inferred, well, then it's probably not going to work in November. And so you can use this to look and understand, hey, where did this information come from? Did it come from the knowledge base? And if it's from a specific piece of the knowledge base, do I need to update that or change it so that it'll be most effective? Okay, I do have some quick tips to review. If we look at using this knowledge base, I think it's really important to start with the sources that you already have. So that services CSV, you can imagine it's a price list that someone already had, or there was that product data sheet that I used. Perfect. that is something that is probably already existing and it's easy to add. If you do have the option, the structured data things like CSVs or even those JSON files, those are usually a little bit better to help AI find relevant information, but only if the information is actually super, super structured. So keep that in mind. And I talked about this a little bit with that handyman connection website example. Less is usually more. There's going to be a lot of searching that the AI is going to do to try and find the information that it needs. But if the information is similar based on the question that someone asks, it's more likely for something to be incorrectly matched. So while you could add in a ton of knowledge, you're probably better off choosing really key pieces of information that the AI can reference. A key reminder here, knowledge is for reference and not for instruction. So don't be trying to get the AI to do specific things with knowledge. Knowledge is just to respond. And then save yourself some time. Make knowledge things that don't change every day. Don't try and have product uploads, inventory as knowledge. That should be a capability. Don't have the specials of the week. Probably maybe you would change that every week, but that's probably a little bit more effort than required. So just try to do those things that don't change super often. And with that, we're already 3 minutes past time, but I want to take some time to answer a couple questions that came up. So ooh, great one. Let me um, answer. Hey, can the AI schedule an appointment and post it on a Google Calendar? The answer is yes, but you would not do that with knowledge. You would do it with capabilities and tools. One of the things that's a little tricky about that is the APIs that Google makes available for working with their calendar. There's often a lot of work that's just a little bit beyond what most people are capable of working with. So I would suggest, if possible, you can connect the calendar in Business app. Let me show that off real quick, I suppose. Um, Inside of the CRM, uh, we'll go there. If you connect the meetings in the calendar, you can have meetings appear on a Google Calendar. This connects directly with Google Calendar so that we take care of some of the authentication stuff that is pretty tricky and gets you to making those bookings automatically. So, really great question. We'll talk more about tools and how you would get the AI to work with tools in the next build mode. And then for, hey, would the AI be able to guide the user through a series of questions? um, what model, what makes, and then add that information, for example, to a calendar. Yes, that could happen. That could work. But again, this would all happen inside of the capabilities. You'd be writing a capability on like scheduling phone repair. Do these things to figure out what kind of phone repair to schedule. And then the tool call that you would create would help share that information to the calendar. There's a little bit of this possible with the uh, um, meeting scheduler. You can do that. So that is an option that's available there as well too. Last one. Hey, even if the chat is already installed, should we add the website in knowledge sources? Absolutely. You can add in knowledge sources at any time. Obviously, it's going to have an impact on how the AI responds later, but you can absolutely do that. And it will continue to add in more information to your knowledge source. I mean, that being said, hey, maybe the AI is actually performing as well as you'd want it to. Then maybe you don't have to. But depending on the questions that are coming in for a business, that might tell you whether you need to add in a little more information. So it's great practice to look at the responses that come in from customers and see whether you should be adding more information in the knowledge base or not. There was one thing that I wanted to touch on really quick that I said I was going to, and I didn't. If you stayed this long, thank you for staying with me on this. There is one slight difference between how the AI chat receptionist and the voice receptionist in particular use knowledge. So, Mr. Handy Helper here, if you look at the prompt, you can see all the way down here that basically um, we're always getting relevant knowledge for the conversation as quickly as possible. And we're referencing that in the responses. In comparison, to help make sure that a voice receptionist is able to respond quickly without taking time to find that information, there is a little bit of a difference here where information actually needs to be looked up. And so, for a moment, when something isn't included in its main instructions or its capability, it's going to actually look and look up that information, which says, "Hey, we're going to take a moment." So, just keep that in mind. That's how the difference between knowledge for chat and voice. Um, One last question. So from Edwin, hey, is there a priority for the order that the sources are used? No, not at all. It's using a KNN search, a K nearest neighbors search, which means that we're searching across the whole vector database to try and find things that are contextually relevant. So we're going to see lots of things surface there, but there's no priority for the order of the sources. Oh, one last question that I missed from Dante. You bet. And then I really do have to go, but thank you, everyone. Um, I'm setting up a lot of different locations. How do I use one chatbot that each location has individually? Um, How do I use one chatbot that each location has individually? Can I do that with one chatbot? I guess let me rephrase this question, or sort of say how I would handle this. And what I'm thinking is, for the type of business, it might be that actually all of the leads come to a specific website, a general website that then takes the leads and shares them out to different locations. And in that case, it makes a ton of sense to have one web chat that's installed on the website. And as the leads come in, you qualify where they belong, and then you can sort of copy and send those leads to different locations. However, maybe each location has its own website. Then you probably want to have each website with its own AI employee, so that you have a different version. Maybe each version does slightly different services. In that case, you'd want to have multiple AI employees created with similar information and knowledge, but you'd be creating one for each different location. So, a really great question. Again, this is not going to be using knowledge per se. So, this is probably likely something that you'd be building out with capabilities. And I bet you might be looking at doing probably a single location web chat to start, and then sending off the leads to the right place. Well, we will be talking more about how to use capabilities to do fancy things like that in another build mode session. Thanks everyone for joining in. You will be able to see a recording of this on YouTube in a short bit. And hope to see you next week as we talk a little bit about capabilities and more specifically using tools in capabilities. Thanks for everyone.